Hi, this is Natalie Danielson. Yesterday I spent hours online at a Washington State Department of Licensing meeting for real estate. It's a quarterly meeting. I've been going for 30 years. Often I'm one of the only people to speak. And I kind of stand up and fight for real estate agents at every meeting. Sometimes you can even see them roll their eyes when it's my turn to speak. So this is the kind of stuff that they talked about that was important issues. But this is what they discussed that affects you. First of all, if you're trying to get your managing broker's license, or if you're a company and you've got people that are taking the pre-license test, there are problems with the company named PSI that they have contracted with. There's problems with communication, customer service, computers losing test scores, no phone answering, no communication between them and the Department of Licensing. Hundreds of people are involved. Agents and soon-to-be agents and managing brokers, hundreds of people are kind of wrestling with the fact that there's just no customer service with this PSI company. So they've been discussing this a lot, and they're going to put it out to bid probably in about 6 months, but the problem is there's probably only one other company in the country that does it, and now that PSI is sold. But the best part of the meeting was that they never admit this at the Department of Licensing. I mean, it comes up almost at every meeting, and especially with me with the managing brokers. So they never admit anything. Well, now they have Jen Claessens in charge, and she said, I was really hoping to make a difference, and I was hoping that I could really get in there and fix this kind of situation. But then she was asked, is there any sense that the customer service is getting better with PSI? And she said, I can't say that it's helping. We don't feel like we're getting the response we want. PSI was recently sold. There are still problems in the system where exams are lost. The Department of Licensing, she has a staff of 4 to 5 people working almost full time, and there's hundreds of brokers that are affected. It's just not getting better. But it was interesting to hear them admit it and say it at a meeting, because this has been very frustrating. The next kind of big issue is that the law of agency had changes made to it so that you are to provide a copy and get it signed of the brokerage services agreement that you have with buyers. And the law says, the law is from the legislature, the House and the Senate, the governor signed it. The law says that you have to do it, quote, as soon as reasonably practicable. Well, the Department of Licensing wants to create rules, which is kind of another process to create rules to say, what does reasonably practicable mean? So there was a subcommittee put together at the last commission meeting 3 months ago to discuss this. And then the Department of Licensing came out at the meeting today with their suggestion of what they want to do to define that, which was a surprise to the subcommittees. So I kind of thought, isn't that interesting? Why would it be a surprise to the subcommittee? But this is what the proposal is from the Department of Licensing, that as soon as reasonably practicable would mean 5 business days of the firms appointing the broker to provide real estate brokerage services, but no later than the firm broker drafting documents or records on behalf of the principal, whichever is sooner. So they're stretching it out. Well, this created kind of a discussion, because the intent of the law was that the brokerage services agreement would be signed before you provide brokerage services. So this is going to be hashed out and before it becomes a rule. So they're having 2 listening sessions that you're allowed to come to. I have the links, and it's in my documents here that I can also email you, where you can go and you can give your 2 cents worth of what you think. Now, I know a lot of agents are like, oh, I don't want to give it to the buyer right away. But it is the law, and in order to get paid, you have to have this, and you need to explain to the buyers how the commission is going to get paid. So we'll see what happens. You're welcome to join those agreements, and just let me know if you have any questions. Should instructors get clock hours for teaching? I say yes. The majority of education in the state of Washington comes from an out-of-state computer. Now, I've probably trained the majority of all the instructors we've had in the state of Washington, and I think if you're teaching a class and you're a real estate broker, you have to master that information, and that you should get the same amount of clock hours as the agents there. In the Bar Association, their instructors get their continuing ed. So then they had the subcommittee reports, and one of them was the education one about why is everybody failing the managing brokers exam? What is the reason? Is it the test? Is it the fact that our required classes don't cover the material on the test? Is it because those required classes haven't been updated? I don't know, I think 2009 or something. So they said that they might consider updating them this year, and they're going to kind of work on that. They were concerned that do the classes actually have the law of agency changes. Transaction coordinators, there's a subcommittee on that. They only met once, so there's no new news on that. Team and assumed names, they only met maybe once. And it's interesting that they did present a graph that showed there's 4,200 real estate offices and branches that are active, but it shows there's over 11,200 assumed names for offices and teams. So almost 3 times the number of actual offices. So this is confusing to the consumer and to everybody. Like if you want to find out, is a team licensed as with an assumed name? Do they have to put their firm name on their ads or not? There's just really no way to look these things up. So I think that this is all going to be straightened out at some point over the next year, I think so. The committee's having 3 listening sessions, March 22nd, 29th, and April 19th. If you're interested in this, you're welcome to attend those. And the final major topic they discussed is there was a company in Washington State and all over the country that was going to homeowners, calling them up, a call center, and saying, hey, would you like $2,000 or something like that? And the homeowner says, sure, all you have to do agree to list with us in the future. So the homeowner signs all their paperwork, they get $2,000, and these people disappear. And then these people search the records all the time. And if the homeowner decides to sell the house from now or for the next 40 years, this company has clouded the title so the homeowner can't sell without giving them, in many cases, tens of thousands of dollars in order to close the transaction. Even their heirs are tied to this. So the legislature had a meeting, like kind of an emergency meeting, and they were discussing this, and they decided to create a law that says listing agreements can be no longer than 5 years. What about buyer brokerage agreements? That was brought up at the last Real Estate Commission meeting, and they are charged by the legislature to discuss this issue and do some research on it. They have until December of this year, and they have, they're working on that now. They might have listening sessions too. So that's my roundup or update of what happened at the hours worth of meeting. Go to the YouTube channel that I have. It's Clock Hours, all one word, CLOCKHOURS on YouTube, and you'll see my pretty face. And then you can see some of the videos from the commission meeting that we had yesterday and the ones from last year and see what they're saying. They're not very well done. I just held my camera up to the computer. You get little thumbnails. You don't always see who's speaking, but at least we will hear what they're saying and kind of understand what's going on. And then I can also send you out my rundown, and I'm going to send it out to my email list this week. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me at clockhours@gmail.com. Thanks a lot.